Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Seamless.AI daily product training demo. Really appreciate everyone joining and jumping in here to talk with us. We are looking forward to getting things kicked off. So we'll typically just allow a few minutes after the hour here. So 3 or 4 after the hour, we'll go ahead and get things kicked off just to make sure we give everyone time to filter in. But really appreciate everybody joining and taking some time to go through the Seamless.AI demo with us here today. So a few housekeeping notes before we get things kicked off. Just wanted to first share that if you have any questions or if you want any clarification on anything throughout the demo process, just use that Q&A button at the bottom. That Q&A button that you'll see at the bottom of your Zoom screen. That'll pop up a little text input, and just type in there whatever you have any questions about or any information that you'd like to see further, deeper, clarify, anything like that. And we will do our best to do one of two things. We will either We'll type back an answer for you and give you some specific details on that. Or we will also, in the course of the demo, try to answer that as well. So David Tull, who is our Director of Customer Success, is going to be walking you guys through the product demo here today. And he does a great job of trying to answer all these questions while we're in the flow of the conversation and the flow of the demo. So we'll go ahead and either one of two ways, or potentially both, we'll get you the answer. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put that in that Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. And as I mentioned, we'll go ahead and just get kicked off in about 1 more minute here just to let everybody filter in. But really appreciate you guys taking the time and joining us here for the Seamless.AI daily product training. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to David. And David is, as I mentioned, our Director of Customer Success. So as he picks things up, he'll go ahead and start sharing his screen, and then he'll walk you through all of the tips and tricks and ways to best use the Seamless.AI platform. So go ahead and take it away, David.
Thank you very much, Jake. Just to confirm, you can hear me all right, yeah?
Absolutely.
All right, perfect. And like Jake mentioned, I've got my screen shared here now to give you a view of the application, and we're excited to give you a tour of how to use Seamless.ai to grow your network and build out lists that can change your life, get you the job you want, the life you want, the marriage you want. We really do believe in using this platform to empower and positively influence the lives of as many people as we possibly can. And I know that sounds lofty, but we'll get into a little bit of why as we go through the product as well. So a little bit of an agenda today. As Jake mentioned, please feel free to make liberal use of the Q&A button down at the bottom of your screen. I typically do like to find ways to answer those as we go, but at the very least, we'll save some time at the end to answer any questions we didn't get to. And if we are overrun with questions, we will follow up with you if we're not able to get to you within the hour. So fear not. We'll have answers for you one way or the other. Kind of a rundown of what we'll cover today. We're going to go through how to use the Seamless.ai search engines that you see before you, find contacts and find companies, and in addition, how you can use them in tandem together, given some features we built into the UX. We'll take a look at your settings to make sure you know how to customize your Seamless.ai account to best fit within your business processes and the rest of your tech stack, including CRM integrations, automations that you can build out through Zapier to tie into email marketing outreach, dialers, etc. And then a little bit of a peek at our product roadmap as we look to enhance the number of direct integrations that are available to you. And then we'll take a look at our Chrome extension. Our Chrome extension allows you to take Seamless Search outside of the app into, well, in particular, we'll take a look at how it plays into LinkedIn Sales Navigator and LinkedIn. We have a lot of clients who use our Chrome extension in LinkedIn Sales Navigator and have been able to find tremendous success using that. So we want to make sure you have the power of this search engine no matter where you are. So we'll make sure to cover that for you as well. All right, so that's what we'll hit. And we'll also, along the way, make sure you know how to import contacts into your CRM if you have an integration. We'll make sure you know how to organize your contacts into lists. We'll make sure that you know how to download your data into a CSV or Excel spreadsheet for future use, either handing it off to your team, running further analysis, manually importing it into another CRM. will cover all of that ground. Before we dive into a proper tour, there are a few things that I want to draw our attention to, albeit a little bit selfishly, since I'm the Director of Customer Success. There are some features here that are very near and dear to my heart. Let's say that you're using the app, you've gone through this training webinar, you're all set, you're feeling great, and then you get into searching later tonight to start building out your list, and you can't quite remember what we covered, you have some more questions, you're still looking for a little more support. Not to worry. We are only a click away right down here in the bottom right corner. All you have to do is click on that help icon. You don't even have to leave the app, and you can enter in whatever question you have, or even just search for a keyword. Let's say you want to get some guidance on how to integrate your CRM. This gives you access to search our complete knowledge base. You can review the articles directly from within the app right here in this little pop-up, or you can expand into the full knowledge center, where you can even jump back to the homepage, move through some of these units we built out to help you master the product, search our knowledge base here, submit a ticket if you find something that we don't have an answer to yet. And even if you want to review this particular webinar, we post our daily webinar recordings here in the knowledge base as well for you to reference. So you should see this post within 24 to 48 hours. You can also reference on-demand video training here as well. And you can link out to our podcast hosted by our CEO and founder, Brandon Bernanson, on Sales Secrets from the Top 1% to learn not just how you get contacts saved into your Seamless.AI account, but what to do with them. To grow your business and to expand your market reach, get your products in the hands of more people so you can change their lives and improve their well-being as well. So you always have the Knowledge Center here at your disposal, either here where you can access it natively or from within the app. And then let's say you don't run into the answer that you're looking for, or you have some additional questions, maybe some ideas or feedback, hit contact us. And then you can let us know why you're reaching out today, attach files, videos, pictures, screenshots, a download of a data set that you have questions about that you want us to take another look at. Anything and everything that's going to help us make you successful. Not just effective at using this platform, but successful in what you do and in moving your product and getting it into the right hands. We want to help on all fronts as holistically as possible. So please never hesitate to reach out. We're only a click away right down here in the bottom right-hand corner. In addition, on the product side, no matter where you are on the site, you're going to see this little tour icon. It's going to persistently follow you around no matter where you go. If at any point you want a guided in-app tour of the section you're using, Jake, that's Jake right there. So if you wonder what Jake looks like, who introduced me earlier, our VP of product, there he is. He's put together these kind of AI-style chatbot tours that'll walk you through step-by-step which features to use, quick how-to. So again, you never have to leave the app. Our goal is to make you as self-sufficient as possible so you can cut down on the amount of time you spend finding and building lists and get you more quickly into talking to the right contacts and building out your network and bringing more customers into your base. You might see these pop up automatically from time to time if we add new features or make changes. If you got it covered and you have what you need, you can always exit out of them right there and get back to searching. All right, so thank you for indulging me. I just want to make sure you know exactly how to reach us for continued support after this webinar. So we're going to go ahead and dive into the search functionality here within the app to demonstrate that for you. And the point that I always raise before we jump into using these filters to pull in as much data as possible across millions of data points to identify the right contacts based on the filters that you're providing is a quick reminder that this is not a database. And I always reinforce that because every single customer we bring on board has at some point worked with a database style solution. And whether you're aware of them or not, we've all ingrained certain habits in how we go about our day-to-day based on using databases. And that was really the struggle that our founders ran across when they were using a database-style solution. Brandon was selling for companies like Brandon was selling for companies like Google and IBM, and had some pretty aggressive goals. And he was finding that using a traditional database-style solution wasn't able to get to the real total addressable market that was out there. And even just experimenting with using search engines to find some of that data was able to address it and learn that there's a huge gap right now, that we had an opportunity to fill. So he worked with developers to build this search engine, which is pulling in data points from as many sources as possible. The information you're getting is live. It's in real time. It's not being manually managed or manipulated by a team that requires a tremendous headcount and aggressive overhead that would raise the price for you. We have solved those problems through technology that lets you, through these keywords, pull in real-time information. So, for instance, you don't have to wait 4 months for a database to update if somebody switches jobs. Let's take a look at how this works. So if I'm in contact search, I have a variety of filters that I can use, and none of these are required. You can, but as long as you put in some level of inputs, our search engine is going to be able to bring you back some data. Now, right now, I don't have any criteria entered, right? So I've got to give it some place to start, just like any search engine, right? So I'm going to go ahead and go with Nike, one of the options that's already kind of prompted there. And of course, you can enter in titles, keywords, names. We'll talk a bit more about some of these fields, but names. If you have an individual contact that you're trying to look up, you can absolutely do that here if you already know who they are. In fact, we have some clients who, while they do use this to build out marketing lists for email or call campaigns, they'll also use it to look up individuals. So that we've got one customer who has a whole team that's dedicated to prospecting at floor shows, and when they get names thrown across them at a booth, they'll be able to put enough information together, even if they don't get a business card, to hop back here into Seamless, type out someone's name, and type out someone's company and any additional keywords they need to, and find that contact and get their information without having to bother them for it, or just spend hours trying to track them down on LinkedIn manually. Titles and keywords, work a little bit differently. Titles, obviously, I can put in a couple of titles here. I'm going to go ahead and put in things like VP, director, and then keywords. I can go outside of just what's described in their title and go a bit beyond into other fields they work in. For instance, I could look for people who are in marketing. Now, that could go beyond people who have marketing in their title, but show people who in their bios, in news media, interviews, that we can tell from our search engine are related to marketing tangentially if I'm looking for more influencers. Now, one of the reasons that we include features like this is because when you're working with a search engine and not with a database, you have more options. And this gets a little deeper beyond how to use the platform and some of the options that are at your disposal when you're using real-time search data as opposed to a database. You might have some internal business rules that say we only target CEOs, we only target the C-suite, et cetera. And obviously, you're the subject matter expert on that. You know who the right audience is for your business. One thing we'll share, though, is that we have had a wealth of clients come through who challenge themselves on those rules and ask, why are we doing that? In the past, usually people are following rules like that because every contact is precious. If you're in a database style solution, you have to pay a little bit extra and kind of get nickel and dime to get into certain tiers of contacts, right? You pay more for a CEO's information than you do for directors. We've democratized the data. So no matter who you're searching for, we're not going to charge you extra for it, right? It's all included on your Seamless.AI unlimited license. So our advice, using the search engine based on the experience of our most successful customers, is to cast a wide net. Take the titles you would normally look for. If you're going to look for CEO as well, great. But go a little bit broader. You have an unlimited license. You have access to this data. And you might as well keep building out different versions of this list that target other stakeholders in the organization. At the end of the day, the goal is to close as much business as possible, book as many qualified meetings as possible. So feel free to challenge yourself and some of the assumptions you've made about your audience and how to reach them, because you now have access to data that lets you creatively rework some of those assumptions. So I'm going to go ahead now that I've got some filters in here. I know it's been a long ramp up to actually hitting the search button, right? So when I hit search, Seamless is researching over 750 million contacts to find ones that match your parameters. Now, obviously, if I click on find email, find intel, find location, or find, I'm going to start bringing in some of this data, right? And I know from experience training clients and with our team supporting clients that your impulse is going to be to jump right in and start to find them because you want to get that data. You want to start reaching out to these people. I'm going to tell you to hold on for a minute. What I want you to do first, before you start finding folks, is make sure you're ready to keep these contacts organized. And the way to do that is right here. See where that says CA events? I'm going to show you what it looks like if you just opened your account. It's going to say set default list unless you already have a contact list saved as your default. Now, as you can see, I built up a number of these over time, and most of these I put together through training, sometimes through helping other clients build lists, etc. But they're all still saved, and I can now, in my contacts, jumping ahead a little bit, I have them all organized in some of these different lists, right? So as I'm downloading or importing contacts or removing contacts, if they're already on one of those default lists, it makes it easier for me to do that. And there are a number of other features that make your life easier if you have these default lists in place. So if you're new to Seamless and you're just starting your account, I would recommend cracking this open and entering in, 5 to 6 campaigns that you know you're going to run before you even start to search. Set the expectation for yourself, the accountability for yourself, that you're going to come back and run searches for those lists. And make sure you pick out more than one idea, right? It's not necessarily, you're not going to get all the way there on your first try. It behooves you to build out 3 or 4 different ways to search for people, 3 or 4 different types of lists that you're going to build to find the one that's going to change your life, to find the one that's going to 10x and maximize your results, right? So I always remind everybody about that because I understand the impulse to jump right in and find the data. Take a second, make sure you have the framework in place to organize it by adding some default lists. And then once I have this list set, these Nike decision makers, I can individually find these contacts. But I'll tell you what our power users do. They don't mess around with finding individual people. They move aggressively and with confidence by hitting find all, letting the data pull itself in. So now this is not finding everybody in this search. It's finding everybody in this page. And I'll articulate a little bit more about that in a moment. But as you can see, all this information is starting to get pulled in. And if I click over to my contacts where this data is stored for me, I can see it reflected there as well. And they're all automatically stored on that Nike DMs list. Now, hopping back into search, there are a few things I can investigate here as far as the validity of the data and some of the questions you're probably asking yourself. How did that just happen? Where did that email address come from? Where did that phone number come from? What did you guys do? Well, let's take a look. If you want to learn more about where we're getting this data and how we're validating it, anytime you want to take a deeper look there, you can click on the contact information. And we'll be able to pull up the count at which we found that phone number, the extent to which our AI was able to validate it, and the confidence we have. You have a chance to upvote or downvote the contact information based on your experience. So as you can see, when it came to company phone, pretty high validation level there for that, and then pretty high validation level for the contact phone as well. Contact phone is basically a direct line, right? So we actually have that distinguished here, both in my contacts and in search. Anytime you see that kind of desk phone, that's your company phone. And anytime you see what looks like, at this point, more of an old-timey mobile phone, that's your direct phone. In some cases, it's a cell phone, but it's definitely going to be a direct line. So to go back into the data validation, you can always use this as a chance to review our multi-step AI validation process that we're using to not just pull this information in, but to make sure that it's correct. So if we go down to the email, you can see where the email AI marks this as valid. Now, the reason it says that is that we actually sent out a virtual email to Nike.com server to see if bert.stevens@Nike.com got a reply back. And because we got a ping back to our server saying, yep, that's a valid email address, that's why we've got it marked as valid. We've got it at 99%. The count is also there to help. We found it 2,850 times. So we can say with confidence that this email address is going to work for Bert. These other iterations that we found evidence of out there in the space, our search engine is finding them. But because when we sent out that virtual email, we got a negative ping back, we're marking them as invalid. We're telling you not to use them. Now, we've got all the data here for you to work with, right? So that we're being transparent with you about what we're pulling in and what we're recommending. And then sometimes what you'll see if the server doesn't provide a straight yes, no, valid, invalid response, that's because the email address is set up to accept all. We'll indicate that, but we'll also still provide an AI score and a count for you to make a judgment call if we didn't get a straight yes or no on what you want to do with that email address. We also have more information in our knowledge base available if you're looking for more information on how to use that data, what it means, and pro tips for successfully leveraging it and taking advantage of as much data as possible. But like I said, this is primarily here so you always have access to how this is being pulled, what level of validation and certainty you can have, and confidence in the contact data. You want to make sure you have access to that information. couple of other features to be aware of here. Obviously you can click right on the phone, link out to Nike's website. And then over here under Intel, you can link out directly to Bert's LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook profile. This is the logo for HubSpot if you're not familiar with them. We'll talk about CRM integration in a moment. But this will allow you to link out to any of their social profiles if you're looking to learn a little bit more about an individual contact. And actually, if you click on this icon for contact intelligence, that's going to take you to a totally separate page. And I'll be honest, this is one of those sections of our platform that I think people could stand to use a little bit more. It's very easy to move forward aggressively into building out these lists, right? I always encourage people to make sure they visit these pages, spend some time getting to know them, and especially if you're at a level where you're going to be performing the first outreach. If you or somebody on your team is going to be that SDR, that BDR, this is a tremendous resource for intelligent script building. Basically, what we've done here is pull together as many touch points as possible. One, to show you where we're getting all of this data from, right? Obviously, there's a wealth of data in LinkedIn that you and I and everybody else has volunteered about our professional lives. But we're going beyond that. We're looking at news articles, interviews. We're looking at SEC filings for the company. We're looking at marketing intelligence for the company, social media mentions, website graders, employee reviews. We're looking at anything and everything that is going to help you connect with this individual and with this organization. And then you can click directly into Bert's LinkedIn profile, see what he's posting about, see where else he's been, see where he went to school. So that way, if this is your contact and you need a quick place to jump into to learn a little bit more about who they are, so you can show them that you took the time to get a bit about their background and personalize your pitch, this is where you can do it. And it's going to take you a lot less time doing it from here than it is to research all of these things manually. Remember this section when we talk about CRM integration in a moment as well. But you can always access it from either my contacts or from the search right here under contact intelligence, right? Okay, so that covers some of the primary points about search functionality. I'm going to take a quick breath here, see if we have any questions. I haven't seen any come in yet. But I have been teaching and training long enough to know that sometimes leaving a little bit of a breath gives questions a chance to percolate. So I'm going to leave us a little breath right here and see what happens. Okay, well, I'm not seeing any other questions come in, even after taking a little breath there, so no worries. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next component then. So if I'm in my contacts and I've started to pull together this Nike list, right? Now, I'm going to jump back in here to demonstrate something real quick. If you notice, there is no countdown here. That's because every time I move to the next page, we run that search again to find potential new contacts for you to download. So, like I said, our aggressive customers, our power users will go after that Find All button, bring in these contacts and move confidently from page to page to make sure they're storing as much information as possible and building out a massive list at scale. Next, Find All. If you find yourself hitting Next and Find All in rapid succession, you are doing something right. You are behaving like a power user. So we absolutely encourage that. Now, once I've built out this list to the best of my satisfaction, if I go down here in the Saved Contacts, now I do get a count, right? Because these are contacts that I've stored in my contacts. Now, that 2,893 represents everybody I've ever saved. If I want to narrow that down, let's say I want to download an Excel spreadsheet that only has the Nike DMs, right? We have filters available in my contacts to help make your life easier. If I want, I can just go up here to download anytime, and I can hit download all. Download all will bring in all 2.8K of those contacts into one Excel spreadsheet. Maybe I want to do that. And maybe I can perform some additional work in Excel to filter those columns and narrow things down a little bit more natively in Excel. That's fine. You're welcome to. We want to make your life a little bit easier if we can. So you could also go into the list filter here, select the Nike DM list from among your options, and now I'm only going to see in my contacts the 29 that I've got built out in that Nike DM list. I can also use this to continue to evaluate if I want to build this list out. That might not be enough for me. I might want to go a little bit deeper and say, I know I've got to get that list to 100 if I'm going to get to the number of quality booked meetings I need based on the averages that I know I typically hit, right? So that gives you a way to count and evaluate over time, am I hitting my goals? But let's say I'm good. Let's say I've got enough people, right? So now I can go back up to download, and now I have the option to download filtered. So if I download filtered and I click on that, that's going to download an Excel spreadsheet and a CSV that only includes these contacts. I can open that up and it's going to provide probably a little more data than I need. I know the question that we always get is what's the difference between clean and raw? Raw gives you everything. Even some of the data that we weren't able to validate or mark as invalid, but we make that available because we do have some customers who are pretty deep data hounds, and maybe they've got some additional technologies that they want to run that through, or work a little bit more with as much data as they can possibly get. That's why we make it available. Most of our customers use the clean data downloads, and even that's going to give you more information than you probably need. It's going to give you multiple email addresses at various levels of validation, multiple phone numbers, etc. But we want to err on the side of giving you more than you probably need just so you have access to it. In addition to that, we do have some items in our product roadmap that would allow you to customize what's on an Excel download to a little bit of a higher degree. That's something we're working on. In the meantime, you can use these filters to your advantage, including under email and phone. And I always draw attention to this because I know people find it extraordinarily useful. If you just want to look at validated emails, you can click that. If you just want to look at contact phone as opposed to company phone, or company phone as opposed to contact, you can make your life easier and set up that filter here in the app before you download as well. All right. Now, let's say that I don't need to download an Excel because I've got an integration with my CRM. So I'm going to show us how to do that first before I jump into the how-to for the CRM integration proper, but this will set the stage for what you need to do once you get to integrating your CRM. I already have an integration installed with HubSpot, again, mostly for testing and training purposes, but once I have that in place, now I can set up this list to import as well. So if I want to send all of these contacts into HubSpot, I can click import instead of download, and I can hit import filtered to only move the Nike DM list in there. So if I set that import button, then I can get all those contacts into my HubSpot instance. I can also click directly on this icon to open up the contact in HubSpot. I want to jump right into that. And I can use these individual buttons to select individual contacts that I'd like to import. You have a variety of options in place once you have your CRM integrated. You can also have the contacts import automatically. So let's jump into our settings real quick, and I'll show you how. So within your general settings, you'll have a quick tour here. We'll link out to our knowledge management system where you can get to our setup and getting started page and roll through instructions on how to get yourself set up and started. Kind of the same structure that we cover here in the webinar, but a good place to refer back to. And then you can add to Google Chrome. This is just a quick link out to our Chrome extension product in Google's Chrome store, just so you have easy access to that. I recommend doing that. Every single customer, it's a fantastic product. It's one of our most popular features, so definitely make sure you've got that covered. And then add to CRM. So this is where you'll see the two native integrations that we have installed today, one for Salesforce, one for HubSpot. And then if you want to go a little bit deeper into CRM, once you have that integration installed, we have some settings pre-populated for you that you can come in and configure yourself based on your preferences, your business rules, etc. For instance, you can have contacts automatically import into HubSpot. Totally up to you. For a lot of organizations, this can be a great efficiency driver that you're using the Chrome extension in LinkedIn Sales Navigator or using the app, and all of these contacts are automatically going right into HubSpot or Salesforce. That might not be the case for you. You can opt into any of these user settings depending on your preferences. And then down here is really where you can have a profound impact on driving efficiencies for your team. These are where you can map your Seamless.AI fields into your HubSpot fields and make sure that as much data as possible is transitioning from your Seamless search into your CRM. You can also, in addition to these settings that we already have pre-configured for you, you can add new mappings. So if I wanted to add some of those fields that I was looking at before in the contact intelligence for employee reviews, Google Finance, Google Research, if I want that data to be available in Salesforce or HubSpot, potentially as part of my lead validation strategy, I can have that automatically transferred into my CRM from the data I pull through Seamless. You can also add custom mappings. So if there are data points that aren't being pulled by Seamless explicitly, but that you'd like to have represented as part of what transfers over into your CRM, you can apply that here as well. So again, our goal is to give you as many options as possible, but we do have it pre-configured so that if you need some help getting off the ground, you don't have to rewrite the book yourself. And the settings for our Salesforce integration are virtually identical. We've really found a way to replicate this process across different technology platforms. By doing that, we've been able to dedicate more time and energy from our development team toward focusing on multiple integrations as we move forward. So you can expect to see more of these as we head through Q3 and Q4. We have an integration with Outreach.io that's in testing right now that we're really excited about, along with additional CRMs and dialers and email marketing campaign platforms that we're excited to get in your hands. If you're looking for a go-between, though, while we're working on those direct integrations, I clicked on Connected Apps there. I'm going to go ahead and not save my CRM changes. This is where you can look at all of our connected apps, including Chrome, Outlook, Salesforce, HubSpot. Zapier is a product that ties multiple technology platforms together without you having to get involved in coding or development at all. I use Zapier all the time. Jake uses it all the time, our VP of product. We are not developers per se. We're not code people, but I can use Zapier to, say, for instance, fire an automation over to Gmail every time I download a contact in Seamless to one of my lists. So if I had that zap in place, that automation in place, everybody who I just downloaded into my contacts could have gotten an email from my Gmail account introducing myself and starting a marketing cadence. They could be automatically added into a list on your dialer if you're using Mojo, if you're using SalesLoft. Zapier connects with virtually any app you can think of, thousands of sales apps. So if you're looking for a way to automate some of this data into the rest of your tech stack without having a native integration in place, Zapier is a great way to do it. So highly recommend checking it out. Again, you can get there by going to your settings, going to connected apps, and clicking directly on that link to Zapier to join our beta program and start using Seamless.AI today. You do have to log in and create an account with Zapier, but they provide free accounts. They, of course, have enterprise paid accounts to give you access to additional automations, but they're already built out. The paths are already put in place for you. So all you have to do is follow the instructions that they provide to connect the data points that fire these automations. They make it extremely easy. And we even have in our knowledge base, some user guides and a couple of use cases of how to connect different technology partners using Zapier. So definitely worth a look. All right, so I'm going to jump back into search to demonstrate one more component of the application itself, and that is the company search. So the contact search and company search were built out separately. These are both real-time search engines, and they use different filters to get you the data that you need in order to target companies or contacts appropriately. And that's why you see some different filters in place on each search. When you're in the company search, you can filter and target by industry. So if I'm looking at, say, event services, I can add that as my industry that I'm targeting. I can choose to target a particular location. Maybe I don't want to target the outside of the U.S. Maybe I'm just going to look at the state of California, and I can even drill down at a more granular level to local cities and towns, et cetera, from there. From there, I can also hit estimated revenue. I can hit employee headcount. And I'm going to go ahead and add in a few filters here just to demonstrate what this looks like. But yeah, these are the filters that you can employ at the company level. Now, you might be thinking, hey, I'd like to find contacts using those types of filters as well. It makes perfect sense. Most of our clients are targeting campaigns that require those types of parameters. Well, there are two ways you can accomplish that. One is directly here within the app. We have made that available. I'll show you how that works, but then I'm going to jump right into how this works with the Chrome extension in LinkedIn and LinkedIn Sales Navigator, because that's really the preferred method that most of our customers have carved out. And even if you're not a Sales Nav customer today, I would strongly recommend considering starting a free trial and checking it out. We'll demonstrate it in a moment, but just to reiterate, that's where a lot of our customers conduct these searches today with a tremendous amount of success. In the application, though, if you're looking for a way to move between company and contact search, I'm going to go ahead and hit search with these parameters that I entered. Again, I'm looking at event services, estimated revenue, somewhere below 20 million, and just looking in California. I'll hit search. And now we're pulling in companies that meet these requirements, right? So if I take a look at some of these and they're looking like they're in pretty good shape, I like the way these companies look. I can add these to my saved companies. I can have a default list in place to store companies over time and perform outreaches. If I'm looking to add this over to the contact search and look for some people who might work at these organizations, pretty easy to do. I want you to keep an eye on this part of the app over here. I'm going to go over here and click on Select All. And automatically all of those companies are added as company filters in the contact search. So from here, I can use the filters available at a contact level to find them. Now, this is where keywords can come in handy, right? Because again, I want to cast a broad net. That's what most of our most successful customers do. So if I hit marketing, that's going to help me out there. And this is also Boolean sensitive, this keyword filter. So if I want to avoid finding assistance, I can actually enter that as a negative search as well. So you could use some of that Boolean logic to find a way to creatively search, to find the right list, the exact right set of parameters is going to help you cast a broad net that's still precise enough to get you the people who are worth talking to. But yeah, once I have that in place, I'm going to go with the marketing keyword. I'll go ahead and hit search with those 10 companies, and I'll start to pull in contacts at those companies who work in marketing, have that keyword associated with them. And then from here, again, I can create a new list for, let's see, CA event. I may already have a list like that, don't I? Yep, I already do. So I'm going to go ahead and select that pre-existing list, hit find all, bring in those contacts, and they'll automatically be saved. And because I have the auto import in place, they're also automatically being stored in my HubSpot instance. Completely instantaneous. Okay, now like I said though, most of our customers who have requirements in place where they're looking to target contacts by, say, location or industry, they're actually using LinkedIn and LinkedIn Sales Navigator to accomplish that. So I'm going to show you how to get there. You can, of course, use the Chrome extension just by jumping into Sales Navigator if you have it installed and running with those filters. But from within the app, if you already have filters in place, you can also hit Social Search, and that's going to kick you directly into LinkedIn, where you can start to find some of these contacts. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to Sales Navigator. But as you can see, once I have these in place, I actually can remove that keyword there. It looks like that's left over. I'm going to go ahead and set industry back to event services here for us. And as you can see, now because I'm in LinkedIn Sales Navigator, I have all of these filters available at the contact level because LinkedIn's more or less a database, right? They already have all of this information stored. So I can then also search by seniority level. I can search by different keywords, etc. So good. So I've got a little list here. And as you can see, because of the Chrome extension, all these features that allow you to save and find contacts and store information and validate information, they're all layered over into LinkedIn Sales Navigator. If you're not currently a LinkedIn Sales Navigator customer, I'd recommend giving it a look. They do a 30-day free trial. Like I have mentioned several times, many of our most successful customers use this combination of products. We love LinkedIn. We think they're good people. We know a lot of folks there. They're good partners, but we're not recommending it because we're getting any kind of affiliate credit or anything. We just think it's a great product, a great process, and using it in combination with our Chrome extension has just proven to be successful. The social proof is there that it works. So I always make sure to indicate that to folks on demos so that you can make a decision. I would recommend, if you haven't already, start a 30-day free trial, see how it works using them in conjunction with each other. Almost every customer we've had who's done that has come back and said, yep, it's worth the ROI. We're going to commit to getting some licenses on SalesNav too. Because as you can see, it works pretty much the same as it does in the app natively. I'm going to go ahead and click on Find All. And I'm not moving anything. The mouse is going down automatically for me. So LinkedIn knows I'm a person and not a robot. And we do recommend using the Chrome extension while the app is still open. That's usually the most effective way to do it. And as you can see, all of these contacts are automatically being saved now here in my app as well. Now, one of the benefits of doing this, of course, is that, obviously the filters in LinkedIn are great, but what you're missing out on is the data validation to make sure that Walter Wong is still on the advisory board at Engage events, or that Kelly is still a partner at B Corp. The example that I use, and my wife would probably not be too happy about it, but in her LinkedIn account, she's still listed as the managing director for a nonprofit theater company. She hasn't been doing that for 7 years, but she just doesn't want to update her LinkedIn profile. She's just not interested in keeping it up. So the data's bad, right? You got to make sure that you're validating this information And that's what you can do by transferring it over into Seamless, and we're still performing the same validation we were before. So I can look at Pamela's email address. There's only one count, but you know what? We got a valid signal back that her email address was marked as valid when we sent a virtual email to the server at outlineproductions.com. We got back a valid response. So you can be confident in that email. In some of the other cases, we didn't find anything for Carter. For Erica, we weren't able to validate the email right away, so we're going to let you know that, and we're going to keep trying to send a ping back. But for now, it's going to be marked as invalid. We're going to make sure you're aware of that. So by using these tools and combinations, you get the benefit of narrowing down your search to the parameters you need using Sales Navigator's filters, and perform the validation and the ability to build massive lists at scale that Seamless.AI provides. A couple of pro tips if that's the direction you're going to go. You'll notice that I got this number down to about 495. I recommend keeping it under 500, 1,000 if that, because once you get above that count, LinkedIn's requirements on page views per day is going to set in, and they're going to throttle you back and not let you search for as many of those. And you'll find yourself with a list that has 2,000 people in it, but LinkedIn's only going to let you get to page 7 or 8 before they stop you. So make sure you keep it limited to about 1,000. That way you can save individual lists for each set of searches that you perform and pull them all back into Seamless. In addition, you can also use lead lists in LinkedIn. If you use them already, our Chrome extension layers right over lead lists as well. And we have an extension that rolls right over LinkedIn Recruiter in the works as well. We're hoping to get that rolled out really pretty soon from what I can see. But yeah, like I said, this is a great combination of tools. A lot of our most successful power users leverage it, so definitely give it a look. Okay, outside of that, that pretty much covers everything we were looking to review today. So I want to thank everybody for attending. I'm not seeing any other questions come in. I'll certainly give us a moment here if I do see any more. But quick reminder, if you have more questions, we're going to post this webinar in our knowledge base. You can always refer back to it. You can always refer to our help widget down here to search the knowledge base. Contact us if you have questions. Product tours are at your disposal. We're here to help drive your success. So if there's anything we can do to help, please don't hesitate to let us know. All right, well, I don't see any other questions coming in. So with that, I will thank everybody for attending today's webinar. We hope you found it helpful, and we look forward to seeing what you accomplish with the power of unlimited search and access to real-time data that will help you grow and expand your market, get your products into the hands of the right people, and change the world. Go for it. Do it, right? You have one shot to find the list that'll change your life. You have multiple shots to find the list that'll change your life. So we wish you luck as you continue to search. We're here to help. Let us know what we can do. Have a great rest of your week. Yeah, go get them.